So this is the wiring harness for the facelift, the one with these headlights. I took off all my old stuff. So this is all the new wiring harness that plugs into the halogen bulbs. So there's a ground over here and another ground under here. I just undid them and put the bolts up there. They plug into the fuse block right down here. I just unplugged it. There's this many pins. So I'm going to unwire it. It feels like the loom goes under here. 8249 or whatever this is. 8246. I have to undo the radiator shroud. And then I'll undo all of that, and then I'll start unwiring it from that end. There's probably going to be some of these clips along the way, and I'll point those out as I get to it. I'm going to pull the wiring harness up. There's a clip here I'll undo. Another clip right here. I'm going to undo these bolts first, and then I'll do the clips. So the clips kind of get mangled when you pop them out. You can undo these, but it's kind of upside down in there. They're hard to reach. One more clip in there. So I've already unplugged it and I've already undid the ground. Make sure our wires are all undone. That one. That, and then our ground. So very similar wire harness, but different connections for the light switches. One thing I noticed about when the van I took this off of, this is a cutout, a rest for this part of the headlight. Geez, I'm doing a terrible job. It's a rest for this part of the headlight, and then this one goes into that hole. So I can cut those out with a Dremel. It looks like the round spot hits the old headlight surround here. Hits there, and this upper piece needs to also be removed. But I don't know where the adjuster would then attach to. I think it's that piece. I might have to extend it, maybe a piece of metal to go in here, because where this adjuster is will be down in this hole. So I might have to do a little bit of modifying for that. I don't feel like going back to the junkyard and grabbing the whole radiator support. Although, so this is what the aftermath looks like. I just took a Sawzall and my drill. This is just where the pin goes. I just used my drill, drilled a couple of holes. The plastic's soft enough you can kind of use it as a router and just kind of make your opening. And then I just used the Sawzall and I cut chunks out, bite-sized bits. This composite plastic breaks off pretty easy. So I just used it to grab some pieces out, cut the edges, and then yeah, use the Sawzall. I just used the Sawzall to cut this little ledge in here too. So now the light fits. I don't know if I should clean it up any, because no one sees it unless they're changing the light bulb maybe. But for me, it's worth the upgrade. So here it is, just friction fit in. There's a couple of pins that fit before the bolts go in. Here is the bottom. It just clips up in there. And on the other side at the bottom, you can't even see where the roughed in hole is, where this part goes in. So from that to that, I'm going to cut this one out now. Here's what it looks like. I cut a couple of pie cuts in here. I cut this across here. I cut this up to there. I will then make a couple more pie cuts this way. I might even use my angle grinder and trim that off. But that's how I did the other side. Made this just an opening for where the back of the bulb goes. I'm going to put LEDs in, so I'm going to probably just clean that up a bit because the LED bulbs take a little bit more room. The grill just fits into all the factory spots. No problem. I'm just going to put the wiring harness back in right now. I got the wiring harness sitting up here. I'm just going to put that in now. I don't know if you guys can see down in there, but that white little clip is the lock to hold it in. The wire from the cover here, it comes out the bottom. So make sure you have it routed nice and low so you can put your cover back on. Then, I guess I should have ran it behind this. I'm gonna unplug it and redo it. I forgot to record running of the wiring harness, but it's just the inverse of what it took to put it in. Ground wire there, ground wire there. Plugged it in, ran all the wires for the headlights, turn signals. The wiring harness goes behind the grill shroud, so I have it wired there, and I have it grommeted up. Can you see that right there? So I'm just gonna bang these bolts back in. Right, here she is all back together. Just literally, I think there's 2 screws that hold the grill in, 2 screws that hold the headlights in. The bottom ones just clip in. These are just the junkyard headlights. I have some new ones on order. I think these are like 40 bucks from the junkyard, but I can get new ones, like 40 bucks each. I can get new ones for 140 Canadian. For brand new, I don't have to polish them, so they are on their way. Let me just turn them on and see what happens. Looks like I need a bulb down here, but it all works, plug and play. Literally took me maybe an hour and a half.